Easy question. Here we go. Question number 1. 1 equals what?
1 equals 1.
Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, 1 equals 1. That makes sense to me. 1 is not definitely 2.
Okay. All right, that's your final answer?
Yes.
Okay, these are easy questions, like I said, so let's move on to the next question, okay? At a traffic signal, the color red equals what?
Stop.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am sure, 100%.
Does it mean go? Does it mean
no?
Turn around?
Complete stop. You have to really stop.
All right. So these are easy questions. Like I said, I just want to make sure we're gonna ramp it up though. All right. Things are gonna get a little more
it's getting
difficult.
harder and harder.
Yeah, gradually. All right. Other people might have fell off already. You know, the 1 equals what? They get confused, right? But you're a pretty smart guy. So we're going to continue with question number 3. How many sounds does the letter A make in the English language?
I have to count. Do I have to count?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to
how many
you.
sounds does the letter A make? Like A, map, maybe sometimes. I have a cheat sheet in my book, but
yeah, you know. Well, well, one thing that I want to bring up is that on the first question, the answer was really easy, right?
Yeah.
The second question was pretty easy, right? So why is the third question so?
Well, I have a book, and if I read a count how many vowels there are in English, I can tell you.
Yeah, and
I don't count.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 or 6, I would say 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting because I've asked this question to a lot of people. Believe it or not, nobody gets the right answer.
Yeah, I noticed.
Nobody seems to understand what the English language is built out of.
But I would argue that there's an infinite number of vowels. I just don't know how many. I just didn't count. And yeah.
Well,
it's a fixed number.
This is the point, is that I think that like if we were to, I should have made another thing. Here, let me see if I can do this really quick, because what I've noticed is that other languages are kind of easy. For example, if I go ahead and make you a bonus question here, I'm going to make a question number 4 here, because we're going to make it, kind of easy here. But if we say, here we go. I'm typing it as we speak, so hold on. ちょっと待ってくださいね。こちらですね。はい。で、done. And then, okay, so if I ask you question number 4, イコール何でしょうか?
Yeah, only one in Japanese, supposedly, yes.
Right. Yeah.
I say supposedly because my wife often teases me for saying slightly different from Tokyo way.
Yeah, obviously dialects and stuff like that, there's a little variation, right? But basically we come back and is a really easy question, right? So how come, and that's what I think that what I'm trying to say is that English is confusing. And even my friends don't know the answer to the third question. So don't worry about it. Like I said, this is a challenge, okay? But the true answer for question number 3 is 7 sounds, 7 different sounds, right? So we got a really confusing English system. Don't worry about it. Nobody gets that question right. But I'm going to calculate your score at the end of all the rounds here. So Don't worry about it. You have a chance to come back, okay? So now the next round, if you don't mind, we're going to get into the easy words, okay? And by easy words, I mean hard, all right? It's going to gradually get harder, but we're going to start soft for you, okay? The first word, all you got to do is basically read the word. Okay, wait. Okay, so what's this word right here?
Con, but I don't really read in between con and s. What is that?
Oh, okay. So basically, there should be an E there, right? You don't see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So if you can imagine the letters just as like a normal English spelling with like all black, right? What is that word?
Con. And then somehow there's an S at the end.
Right. Okay. Then I'm going to go into the next question right here. What's this word?
Confucius.
Yeah.
Confucius.
Yeah, you knew that one. Okay. So anything interesting about, I don't know, this word that kind of looks from your eyes? Do you see anything that looks weird? Or because this is a really strange word if you think about it.
Well, I noticed initially it was con, but in this one it's Confucius. It's not
Yeah.
like Confucius. So that's the
a-
difference.
So yeah, so we're noticing
Yeah.
that O's are different, right? But
Yeah.
also, like I like to look at that C. If you look at that C, it's not a C because in a textbook, the C is either a K or a S, right? But in the case of Confucius, it's a sh.
Yeah,
it's a SH sound. How do you describe that? Right?
Yeah, Confucius, SH sound, yeah.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
but English is really strange, but so far so good. Let's go on to the next word because, like I said, English.
Confusing.
Yeah. Now, notice the S. What did you say? Because you said it pretty good there.
Z.
Yeah, right. But I see an S. But why would you say a Z with an S is right? It doesn't even make
It's
sense.
all messed up.
Yeah, it's all messed
Well,
up.
Yeah, these are like words that came from foreign countries or foreign languages, and then I think somehow English speakers decided to just use the same spelling as other people originally used. I think.
Yeah, the history of English, as far as I understand it, and I don't really understand it because it's so complicated. But yes, it's got multiple influences from Latin, French, Danish, Germanic. You know what I mean? It's just a hodgepodge of different languages and accents. And yes, it's literally confusing. So sometimes they preserve the spelling of a French word, but gave it like the English pronunciation. Like there's so many random crazy stories. And somehow we have to memorize all of this. And it's kind of hard, right? So then just to add to everything, what's this?
Confusion.
Yeah, good.
Confusion.
Good.
Yeah.
But again, we look at the S, and if we could go back, right, and we look at that S, and then we come back to this S over here, it's different.
I didn't even think about it. Actually, they are different. Confusion. Yeah, it's like ZH, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like and that sound doesn't even have a letter in English. Yeah, pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, like a beige, like French kind of.
Yeah. I think a lot of those sounds come from French, as far as I understand it. So good. So yeah, a lot of English leads to confusion, but also the next word here.
Contradiction. Yeah.
Yeah. So what have you noticed about the zero, the O here, right? This one color here, but then we move into the O. Now we've got yet another way to pronounce the O. Seems like a contradiction to me. Yeah. Seems
They sound the same to me. Well, can you explain that again? What's the difference between this one and the previous one?
So
that's confusion.
I would say confusion. Yeah. Confusion, right? Like right?
Yeah.
And then I would say on this one, it's a contradiction.
Contradiction.
Yeah, and
I was saying it wrong, I think.
What did you just
contradiction. I said contradiction. That's what I said initially, but I think you sound actually more correct. Contradiction.
I don't want to contradict myself or anybody, but as far as I say it, because a lot of times, and just as a total clarification, when I was typing these words, I couldn't type them. I literally could not spell them. Because I don't know how to spell English, because I literally can't spell. I have to use the microphone for a lot of difficult words, and I just say the word because I know how to say it, but I definitely don't know how to spell it. So basically, contradiction, right?
Contradiction. Wow.
Yeah.
Contradiction. Contradiction. I'm contradicting. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then finally, at the end of the word, we have that little T, right? And that's not a T sound. It's a contradiction, right? Yeah.
Right.
And if we go back into Confucius, it's the same. The T and a C have the same sound all of a sudden, right? It's kind of crazy. But this is the English system that everybody has to memorize, and it doesn't make sense, does it?
It's almost like you want to ignore spelling first when you learn
Yes.
it because it's
Yes.
almost confusing.
Yes. No, it's
Yeah.
actually confusing. It is confusing. So it is kind and we can get deep right now if you want, but basically, as far as I'm concerned, the first and foremost thing that we got to do is we got to listen.
Yeah.
And then we mimic. But, I think a lot of people start their textbooks, like 中学生, 1年生, they're like a book. They're reading a book, and it's not the right way to start, in my opinion. But yeah, basically, you got to listen, right? And
Contradiction.
yeah. And then you see right? So
Yeah.
let's move on. We got 2 more words. This round is almost over, but it is getting harder.
This one is harder, but it's conscientious, like a
Yes.
conscientious objector. Isn't there
Yes.
such a word?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And to
conscientious.
be honest, I couldn't even say this word. When I was making these slides, conscientious. Okay, conscientious. Okay, if I look at the colors, then I can do it. But conscientious, and I sound it out, conscientious. Yeah, then I can say it. But this is definitely one of the hardest words. So don't feel pressure on this. But you got it. You obviously recognized it, right?
There's one word I keep messing up that sounds similar to this one. Courteous. It's kind of tricky. Courteous, yeah.
Courteous, huh? Conscientiousness, yeah. Courteous, right? With that hard L or hard R in there, right? So good. Yeah. All right. Well, then conscientious, we have the same kind of problem, right? Because we're seeing that an SC and a T, because if you look at the color, right, have the same sound. Yeah. Conscientious, right? And this doesn't make sense. English is confusing, and I wish there was a way to fix English. But what are we going to do, right? Like if there was only a way to teach pronunciation, okay? But basically, we're going to move to the last word here, and this is why we're doing this, because we're here to expand this. We want to expand. Can you say this word?
Consciousness.
Yeah.
I like this word.
Yeah, I love this word too. It's fun to talk about, and here we are talking about it. So consciousness, very important to our experience here on this planet Earth. But to talk about it, right, in English or Japanese, right, you got to say the word so people understand it. And consciousness is really hard to say. So yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize how hard this thing was because why would I know it's consciousness as opposed to consciousness or something?
Right.
I guess I just learned it that way.
Yeah. If you have the natural way of learning, which I think you did, is that you just talk to people and you listen and you just know how to say it, and then later as you start typing and you start developing your thoughts and you start writing essays, for example, reading books, you see it. And you have like 2 different files in your brain. One's a visual file, and then one's an audio file. And in your head, it's the same. But if you really look at the 2 files together, there seems to be kind of like a contradiction, right? And it seems to be confusing. And so hopefully we can fix that right here by having this conversation.
There's one more thing that I want to say, which is as you get used to this kind of thing, it's easier to say it correctly, actually. Like it's easier for me to say consciousness as opposed to consciousness or consciousness. It's kind of hard to say consciousness. So it gets easier.
It gets easier as you do it, as you practice, and as you have actual conversations with people. Yeah, it almost becomes automatic, right? Once you start talking about this with people in casual conversation.
And another way of saying this is that people say it this way because it's easy or easy that way to say consciousness. So it's like, people say it because it's easy to say it that way, kind of. Yeah. There's that element too, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely depending on the word. Like you see a bunch of letters, and people I think just don't even pay attention to the letters. You know, you're just saying it the easiest way possible, and a
Yeah.
lot of that happens in language. But you know, that's a rabbit hole right there. But in the meantime, let's just go ahead and look at these. It's right in the middle. It's fast, but just look at English for a second. I call this the 7 C's.
It's like this.
Yeah. And it does, right? But if you think about it, yeah, it is an eye test, but it's also a listening test because like for example, if you look at the O, oh, and by the way, I know you got confused by the first one because of the E, the silent E, but that's actually cones.
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
see it. Do I have a
yeah,
color? How do you say color blindness in my eyes?
possibly, maybe, but it wasn't the color. I think you didn't see the E, and so the
I don't
E.
still see it either
Yeah.
yet.
Okay. So that was that. So if you didn't see the E, then because basically cones, right? The E, it's
Yeah.
not cones, right?
All right.
It's cones with a Z, right? And so yeah, I think you didn't see the E, and so that would then be
I saw
cons.
E just a split second, a
Gotcha.
couple seconds ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that I will calculate that in your final TOEIC score.
Okay.
That basically
I need to get a good job in Tokyo.
Yes, I know. You need to
Yeah.
you need that good job at that startup, and I'm going to help you do that. We're doing this TOEIC training right now. But basically, yeah, this is just a nice little how do you say like I changed the camera. I like this camera better. So yeah, this is a nice little just way to look at how confusing all of the confusion, all of the contradiction, and I'm trying to be conscientious as I try to expand our consciousness, but I'm not as wide as Confucius. And
Yeah.
the way this is working is in this cone because I want you to visualize all of this, and you and everybody that's watching right now. But basically, if I can go ahead and really quickly talk about the color, because using color, I think, is the easiest way to kind of like sound out these words as you're learning them, right? And so I have this app, and it's called Aura English HD. You can check the link down in the bio. Everybody watching the game show right now, and you can learn this color system too. Okay, like I said, there's all these different colors here, but we use color to like really get into the details of every single English word that you can think of. So when you go to the app, you use it like a dictionary, and you just look up a word and use the color instead of IPA or Hatsun Kigo, right? So basically, we believe that this is just going to be the easiest way to study English in the future. And this is just an example here. So if you guys are watching this and you are interested in this color, go ahead, go to the bio, click the link, and then download it. And when you download it, there are a bunch of lessons where we teach English HD. And I do encourage you, まあ、英語でも日本語でもいいんだけど、もしね、僕の English HD コースを購入したらね、このクリエイターコード使ってくださいね。カズさんがいらっしゃってくれて、ね、本当にありがたいから。Is my Japanese even correct? Like, I'm trying to be like super polite if I can. But basically, カズ英語喉入れてくださいね. That's a creator code. If you like this show or you like this kind of format that what we're doing, support Kaz because he's come onto the show and been a good guest and a willing participant in this amazing game that we're playing right now. So thank you, Kaz, for even coming, and thanks for even playing. But that's the app down there, guys. If you want to, where's my hand? Go down in the link or whatever, click that. And then we can, you guys can learn the color system too, okay? So, 英語の振り仮名.
I want to make a comment on how important this thing is. I want to tell you, when I was in college or probably in high school, I was like, I really have to get these vowels really correctly. So I was like, hat, hut. And that's when I really, really picked up learning English fast, when I started differentiating vowels. Yeah. So I really think this system is useful.
Yeah.
And
Well, thank you for that.
Should I say that in Japanese?